Good morning, children. Today we shall study a poem from the textbook of Standard 12th, English. The poem is entitled as Have You Earned Your Tomorrow? This poem has been composed by a celebrated poet called Edgar Guest. Edgar Guest was a British American poet. That means he was born in Britain, in England, and later on he shifted to USA along with his parents. He shifted to US when he was only 10 years old, and he began his writing career in 1895 at the tender age of 14. Edgar Guest was a very multifaceted personality. You know why? Because his talent, his creativity played at ease in many fields. Like, he not only wrote in newspapers and magazines, but along with that he also hosted shows on Detroit radio station, and apart from that he also presented some TV series also. So not only this, he had made it a rule as if that he would write at least one poem each day. And in this way, do you know, children, how many poems did he compose in all? He was a prolific poet to compose no less than 11,000 of poems throughout his career as a poet. He would work in Detroit Free Press, and while working there, he used to write these poems and get them published in the newspaper and all, and magazines and all. Edgar Guest is known as the people's poet. He was known as the people's poet because his poems, his writing style was very simple, and they always carried an optimistic note in themselves. Optimistic note means hopefulness. What he gave to the people, to the laity, to the commoners around him was hopeful way of living life, which we shall find here also in this poem. Edgar is an American writer, which we have already seen, and this poem of his is an inspirational poem. In this poem, the speaker is asking the readers whether they have done anything to improve the life of another human being or not. It's up to you whether you will have a better future or not. Therefore, one should consider one's actions and deeds carefully and plan accordingly for a better future. Now, the exhortations that Edgar Guest gives us, his readers, through his poems, especially in this poem, are, I think, very much akin to those of the exhortings of Indian culture. What we are told right from our childhood by our great ancestors, by the elders at home, we are always told that Ramadivat pravartitavyam na Ravanadivat, means, children, you have to behave like Lord Ram and not like Ravan. Or we are told Paropakaraha punyaya papaya parapidanam, means if you do good to others, that earns moral merit to you, to your account, and if at all you trouble other people, then what will happen? It will only add to your sins. That will make you a sinful personality. We are also told that Paropakaraya satam vibhutayah, means great people are born only to do good to all the people. Now, this is the note of optimism that we find in his poem, that we also find running throughout our Indian culture. What we are told here is that we have to live and let others live. And the same thing is told to us here by Edgar Guest, that you have to live your life happily, and not only that, while living your life happily, you have to also help other people to lead their lives also happily. Now, let us turn to the poem. I shall first of all do the model reading, and then we shall go towards the explanation part of it. Have you earned your tomorrow? Edgar Guest asks his readers here. Is anybody happier because you passed his way? Does anyone remember that you spoke to him today? This day is almost over, and its toiling time is through. Is there anyone to utter now at least a kindly word for you? Did you give a cheerful greeting to the friend who came along? Or a churlish sort of howdy, and then vanish in the throng? Were you selfish, pure and simple as you rushed along the way? Or is someone mighty grateful for the deed you did today? Can you say tonight, in parting with the days that's slipping fast, that you helped a single brother of the many that you passed? Is a single heart rejoicing over what you did or what you said? Does a man whose hopes were fading now with courage look ahead? Did you waste the day or lose it? Was it well or sorely spent? Did you leave a trail of kindness or a scar of discontentment? As you close your eyes in slumber, do you think that God would say, you have earned one more tomorrow by the work you did today? Now here, as we find that Edgar Guest is harping on the same tune again and again, that children or people, my dear readers, you just have to work today for earning one more tomorrow for your own selves in your life. And what is that tomorrow? That is a day well spent, a day to look hopefully for. You have to earn moral merit in your life. This way he means to say. See, we find here also our Indian literature also profuse with all these things, explaining the importance of being good to others, doing good to others. We are told, Paropakaraya phalanti vrikshaha, Paropakaraya vahanti nadyah, Paropakaraya duhanti gavaha, Paropakarartham idam shariram. Means the trees bear fruits in order to give them to others. The rivers also flow. What for? They flow only to give their waters to the people living in the vicinity. And what about the cows? They never say that we shall keep our milk reserved only to our calves. They never do that. They never say that. What do they do then? They, on the contrary, give this milk to the humans. Okay, so in this way, what do we find? That idam shariram paropakarartham. God has given us this precious human life, this body, only to serve others, in order to be good to others. Now let us turn to the first stanza of our poem. The poet says here, he asks rather us, is anybody happier because you passed his way? Have you made someone happy today? Now tell me, like, we will just pass by someone and that person will be happy. Can this happen ever? Never, rather. Why? Because unless and until we do something that is useful for him, we do something that turns out to be good for him, he can't be grateful to us, right? Therefore, by this line, the poet means to ask you, have you made someone happy with your kind gesture, so that you passed by his side, you did something good to him, and therefore he will remember you forever? Does anyone remember that you spoke to him today? Before you go to your sleep, dear children, you have to put these queries to your own selves. Before you go to sleep, you have to ask yourself, have I made someone happy today because I spoke kind words to him? Have I spoken so nicely to someone so that those words have turned out to be inspiring for him to fight with the odds in his life? Does anyone remember that you spoke to him good today? This day is almost over. The poet tells us here that this day has come to an end and its toiling time is through, and you have worked very hard throughout the day. The day is over. Now it's the time for you to ask whether this day was a well spent one for you or it was just sorely spent. Is there anyone to utter now a kindly word of you? Do you find someone by the end of the day, at the approach of night, do you find that there is someone in this world who is ready to speak just a single kindly word of you? And when will this happen? Again, the same children, when you will help out some person, some people, then only they will be grateful to you and they will definitely speak kind words about you. Getting it? Now let us turn to the second stanza. Did you give a cheerful greeting to the friend who came along? Did you talk to someone in a cheerful way? Has it ever happened that some friend of yours or even some person who knows you, he has come to you just because he had some problem in his life and you tried to share it, okay? You tried to convince him that life is not so hard, dear. Rather, it can be lived in a very simple way with hopefulness, with optimism. Have you ever exhorted someone, advised someone that you have to stick to the fight when you are the hardest hit? Means just give one more blow and then you will easily defeat the hardships in your life, easily defeat the unfavorable conditions in your life. Have you ever uttered such sort of words for others? Or a churlish sort of howdy? Howdy means how do you do? Or just a churlish sort of how do you do and then vanish in the throng? See, when someone comes to you, he comes with a purpose. Maybe he needs your help, he wishes to seek some guidance from you, and in such a condition, if you talk to that fellow with sympathy, if you sympathize him, and if you try to solve that particular difficult situation for him, if you try to give him some consoling words, what will happen then? He will remember you forever as his guiding source. But if at all you fail to do so, and if you just in a rude way you just ask him how do you do, and then you just vanish, you go and be a part of the throng, be a part of the crowd, then what will happen? That fellow will feel very bad. Obviously that person will feel very, very bad. He'll think, I had come to this person with some hope and he even did not bother to talk to me, to ask me why I have come. Okay, so someone has come to you, then how did you react? Did you just in a rude way talk to him like how do you do, and then you vanished from him? Or if at all you have talked to him in a very sympathetic way, then what will happen? That person will definitely remember you forever. He will definitely remember the advice given by you to him that you have to stick to the fight when you are hardest hit. Were you selfish, pure and simple as you rushed along the way? Now when you do this, you just in a haughty way you ask him how do you do, and then you vanish from that place, you just disappear from that place. Why does this happen? Just because you are selfish. You are selfish enough to be concerned only regarding your matters, and you not at all are concerned about other people's problems. Only then can this thing happen. So were you selfish today while dealing with that person, while talking to him? Or is someone mighty grateful for a deed you did today? Or did you behave with such a person in a very kindly manner, okay? And you talked to him, you provided him forbearance, and then because of your words, encouraging words, that person is feeling grateful about you before going to sleep. See, if you do such sort of activity, then what will happen? You also will have a nice and peaceful sleep, and that person who has sought a very precious piece of advice from you, he also will go to sleep very happily. So it's all up to you whether what kind of tomorrow or the next morning you want to earn for yourself. The poet means to say this. Now let us come to the third stanza. Can you say tonight in parting with the days that's slipping fast? You every day, see, as we live our life, each day we are parting with the days that are left in our lives, right? With each passing day, each single day from our lives is deducted. So when we know this, when we know that each day we are getting shorter life, at least then in such a mental state, you should understand the importance of helping out others. You should understand the importance of giving some consolation to the distressed soul. Okay, so tonight, as the day has come to an end and as you are about to sleep, this night, can you say that you helped a single brother of the many that you passed? You might have passed many people throughout the day today, but out of those many, have you tried to help out at least a single soul? If at all you have done this, then what will happen? You will definitely make someone happy, someone satisfied. You will definitely be a lighting source for the distressed souls. Is a single heart rejoicing over what you did or said? Whatever your gesture was towards that person who had come to seek your help, is that fellow rejoicing? Is that fellow very happy just because of gesture? Is that fellow happy regarding what you did to him or what you said to him? Or is that fellow sad over whatever your approach was towards him and towards his problems? Ask yourself, The poet is telling us that we have to ask ourselves, how were we? How did we bear ourselves today throughout the day? Does a man whose hopes were fading now with courage look ahead? A man who had become utterly hopeless, who was surrounded by many a problem in his life, and he had come to you to seek some solution for them. Such a fellow whose hopes were fading day by day, he was getting hopeless day by day, he was turning out to be a total pessimist day by day. To such a person, what did you give? Did you do such a thing for him so that he was blessed with a new outlook to look at life? Now, today, this night, when that fellow sleeps at home, is he filled with new hope for his life, or do his problems continue in his life? You have to think regarding this. Now, let us come to the last stanza, children. The fourth one. Did you waste the day or lose it? Was it well spent or sorely spent? See, God had given you one more day to live, right? Every day, it is said that every day we are blessed by the Almighty because He adds one more day to our lives, right? As we see the sun rising, we have to keep this in mind that we have been blessed by one more day by the Almighty. So how we have to bear ourselves? What should we do throughout the day? We should try to repay the Almighty with our gestures, with our kind words and with our kind deeds. Okay, we have to be thankful towards the Almighty that He has given us one more day, so that when we sleep at night, we are satisfied with what we have done today, with what we have said to other people today. So the poet is asking us here, the readers here, did you waste the day given to you by the Almighty? Did you lose this one more opportunity given to you by God to be humane enough with the other people and their problems? Was it well spent? Was this day of yours well spent, or was it sorely spent? You just acted like eat, drink and be merry, and then the day came to an end. What was it? Did you live for your own self throughout this day, or did you try to live for the sake of other people in order to free other people from their sorrows? What's the fact? Check out the fact. Did you leave a trail of kindness or a scar of discontent? Did you leave a trail of kindness in the minds of other people? Did your acts of kindness inspire other people to do good to others also? Did those people think that this person was very nice with him, and in the same way, even I should provide hope to the other hopeless people around me? So did this act of yours, did this gesture of yours leave a trail of kindness in the mind of the person you talked to, or a scar of discontent? Or is that person dissatisfied with your gestures? Or is that person unhappy that whatever he had come to you for was not at all done, was not at all performed by you? What's the condition? Just ask yourself. As you close your eyes and in slumber, do you think that God would say, now the night has approached and you are about to sleep. Now as you will fall into slumber, you have to ask yourself, whatever I did throughout the day, will God say to me, what? Let us see the next line. You have earned one more tomorrow by the work you did today. Will the God be happy with us? Will the Almighty be satisfied with us that I had given one more opportunity to this person to live on this earth, and he really made use of that opportunity very well? So will God be happy with you, and will He be in a mood to say to you, ki, my dear child, you really have well spent this day, and therefore being happy with you, being satisfied with you, pleased with you, here I grant you one more opportunity, one more good morrow, good morning to live in your life. What do you think? What would be the God's reaction? Do you think that the Almighty would say to you that you have earned one more tomorrow by the work you did today? So, dear children, it's your work, it's your words, it's your actions for this throughout this entire day that decide our course for the future life. Okay, what is in store for us tomorrow is decided by what you did today, how you spent this day. And therefore this poet Edgar Guest, elsewhere he had said that there is an education of the mind which all require and parents only start, but there is training of a nobler kind, and that's the education of the heart. This is more important, he says. Lessons that are the most difficult to give are faith and courage and the way to live. See, the education of mind, we all are mentally trained at home, right from our childhood, right from our birth. But the education of heart is something that can be bestowed upon us by our elders and by the situations that we face around us throughout the day. And not only this, we have to learn the lessons from them. Ultimately, it is what we do today, whether that makes other people happy or not, whether our existence turns out to be useful for the laity, for the commoners around us or not. It's what matters is how our heart has been educated. What matters is whether we can show a path to live to the people around us. What matters is whether we can give faith and courage to the people who need them the most. So Edgar Guest, when he asks us, have you earned your tomorrow, he gives us a very righteous way of living through this poem. He wishes to tell us how we should spend our life. Here we end with our poem, and the technical aspects of the poem, like the rhyming words and the rhyme scheme and the figures of speech, we shall deal with in the next video.